So as promised, we are going to look at the material quantity variance, and even I will not always link back as we should. So material quantity variance here, now what we'll be looking at is looking at the actual quantity used, and then we are going to multiply that by our standard price. So the actual quantity used was 1078. Multiplied that by our standard price of $54. We see that we have 58,212. As I noted before, we have this difference between actual quantity at standard price for the material price variance and the actual quantity at standard price for the material quantity variance. And the reason is that in the former case, we are looking at the difference in price and keeping the quantities constant. Here we're going to be looking at the difference in quantities and keeping the price constant. So here we will go back to what our initial plan was, a standard quantity at the standard price. So standard quantity of 980 multiplied by the standard price of 54. And as we copy these formulas down, we see that our variance here is 5292 unfavorable. So as it turns out, we ended up, compared to what we had planned for, we ended up using more of the materials than what we had anticipated. And well, it looks to be a lot more or a lot costlier. So this is where we need to be careful when we go through and analyze anything regarding variance analysis. And in this chapter, as we're finishing up the semester here, I am focusing on the material price and material quantity variances for direct materials, the labor rate and labor efficiency variances for direct labor, because these are the most likely to be observable. You can get you can do something in the textbook gets into issues with overhead variances. By their nature, they're going to be more difficult to evaluate. But anytime that you're evaluating, you want to be cognizant of, well, just because something looks good in one area, looking good meaning we spent less than what we anticipated with the material price variance, we have to see what the unintended consequence is. And so indeed, if we bought inferior material, well, why would I say that? Well, we ended up using 1078 up here instead of 980. Well, if based on the budget we were supposed to use 980, we ended up having to use more material. This more than offsets the price savings that we had, because we ended up having to use more. So from a dollar standpoint, we are behind. It cost $692 more than what it should have. And so this is something that before we applaud the person who has who shows up and look at what a great deal I got, well, as it turns out, this great deal ended up costing us more and that this is just in terms of cost. So I mean, I say cost and costing us more, but this is just in terms of cost. But we're not even considering the quality yet. And so this is something that, from a reputational standpoint, you don't want somebody saying, well, look, this product that they gave us, this output, this isn't even working, or it's not how it used to be. And so this is something that we need to be careful about, how we align incentives. We don't want to reward somebody for getting the best price if it's at the sacrifice of quality.